It's go time. How's it going out there, guys? Got a great one lined up for you today. Maybe. If you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. We have the beautiful Betty Van Velsen presenting The Bride of Christ, Betrothal 2, the 144.000. How's it going there, .000?
Are you calling me Dottie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that. In my language, there's a dot there to divide the numbers, and the comma is basically for digitals. But you guys are the other way around, I suppose.
Yes. The 144.000 is just 144 with 3 zeros behind it. It's a bit redundant because it's already taken on its face as it's 144. No need for the zeros.
Is it?
Yeah, you don't have to write any zeros after if you just have 100, you don't have to put a dot there. Just write 144. You're good.
And then everybody knows that it's 1,000?
No, it's 144. You still ain't getting it.
Yeah, well, we don't do that either, right? But if we have decimals, right, then we put a comma and then 2 decimals behind it usually.
A decimal point
So it's
is
1.99, right? It's like $1.99.
a decimal point is a period.
No.
Yeah, it is. You want me to look it up?
Sweetheart, we are on the old continent. You guys came later, so you have to follow our suit, not the other way around.
See, no, it's just stop with the annoyances. No, what were they?
We haven't even started yet.
Yeah, what were they? Weren't annoyances. We had another word for it. Annoyments.
Annoyments, yeah. That's what I came up with that.
Yeah, you did. That's yours. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, because it's like squirrely things.
Yeah, but they get.
Wait a minute. I might be interrupted by a stupid warning sign of my my how do you say that, firewall thing.
Really?
Hopefully it will go well. So if you see something pop up, then change. I have to do something.
What is it? Just popping up all day this morning, or for?
No,
Well,
it just came up, instead of me looking and really watching what I should do, right? I just click it away, and then I saw later that in 5 minutes he wants to restart my I think my whole
oh,
computer.
gotcha. Yeah. I'm tracking with you. Yeah, that's right. It's
So
gonna pop up.
mm-hmm.
We'll
I
have to
hate
get
these
your
pop-ups.
presentation up just in time so we can all could see it.
Well, you might just lose me altogether, right? That could be the case.
Oh, I didn't want to pull that up. Let me get you. Hold on a second. Oh, I got a message from Betty Van Velsen in Discord. Let's see what she says.
Oh, good, no God. I don't think that it's very interesting.
Another backslide.
Well, that's what I'm really good at,
Jeez,
especially
man.
lately.
I'd seen your message up there. I see the horse, the blue horse, the blue Pegasus. And I'd see what uplifting message am I gonna get? And
Probably be a response to your uplifting messages.
yeah, this is her message to me because I just told her something about my wife, and this is her message to me, folks. She the one who has a man with a hole in his head.
Yeah.
But she didn't put head. She wrote hole in his hand.
Yeah, hand, a hole in your hand. You know what that means in Dutch?
A hole in your hand, that's somebody that loses money?
Yes.
I kind of figured.
Or spends it, like, extremely fast.
Right. A bit, what's that word? It's not spontaneous.
Big spender, right?
It's not spontaneous. It's another word similar to that. I'm searching for it in my mind.
How long is that gonna take?
It could take a while.
Oh well, then I can't make it snappy.
You will make it snappy.
I won't, because you're taking up my time right now.
You will make it
thinking of a
snappy.
word. Well, think faster.
Yeah, I can't think of the word. It's gonna drive me nuts too. Yeah, you know that deal when you're trying to think, you just can't. It's right on the tip of your tongue, can't get it.
Yeah,
Well, this has
well,
been
maybe it
exciting.
wasn't
I'm sure everyone's.
supposed to be said.
Oh, geez, now I'm gonna get rumpus.
Yeah, and there's even just the two of us here.
Yeah, you do it constantly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not gonna be we're not gonna wait for me to search for that. We're gonna see where you are at. Are you gonna share your screen?
Oh, that's a good one.
Isn't that a good thing?
That should be good. Wait a minute. Let me do it differently. I saw some options there. There. Yeah.
Am I gonna do something
You
here?
got
Yeah,
it?
I do. Yeah, get that big black square out the way.
Yeah.
Can't start it yet because we got to see the open unveiling. So you're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I'm waiting for your cue.
All right, wait a second.
Cue.
Let me get it out. Get that.
Waiting for your cue, Kiwi.
Yeah, the cue's coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
There we go.
There you go. You're off and running, Moon.
Okay, so continuation of the Bride of Christ. It's already part 3, and I'm going to do a follow-up on the betrothal, and I'm going to go over the 144,000. So again, the disclaimer, I don't think that I need to repeat this, but I want to have it on screen a little while so that people can read through it. So I'm going to go over a little recap of the first presentation that I did about the marriage and the divorce. Right? So we have God as the bridegroom, 12 tribes that were the bride in the past. They broke the covenant, and there you go with the message.
Is that it?
That's it. I'm going to put it over 2 hours, so that's good. It's out of the way. Okay, so, and then the bill of divorce. And then, see, it got me up my game, and I was just starting so good.
Yeah, I knew it would. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, in Jeremiah 31-32 it says, "Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, say the Lord." So
okay,
we know that there was a marriage before,
okay,
and there was a divorce.
Okay, stop right there. See, this is the
Already.
one. All right. So this is all of Israel. That's all the tribes.
Yes. You can see it here in this style, right, that I sort of represented it.
Yep, because he brought all of them out of Egypt. I just want to have this established for future endeavors.
Yeah, there was a marriage between all of Israel.
Okay, good to go. Continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep. So the length on the divorce, the conclusion that I made in that first presentation was no other divorce allowed unless when the woman is an adulterer. Marrying a divorced woman is adultery. Remarrying a divorced woman is adultery. Right? So this, I want to stress this because later on at the end of the whole presentation, then this comes back again, and then we'll see why this is important. Some people already know, right? A new covenant for people that are not yet his people, as we read in Hosea 2, 20 and 23. "I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know the Lord." And then a couple of verses later, "And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that have not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which are not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God." So again, right, we know that something's up, right? He's going to betroth his people again. So in 2 Corinthians 11, verse 2, for I feel divine jealousy for you, since I betrothed you to one husband to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. So we now know that there's one husband and he's looking for a pure virgin. And then in Matthew 25, verse 1 to 7, now this is only verse 1, then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet their bridegroom. And in Matthew 9:15, and Jesus said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, then they shall fast. And in John 12, verse 14 and 15, and Jesus, when he had found a young ass and sat thereon, as it was written, fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh, sitting on an ass's colt. So we got a new covenant here. He's looking for a virgin. Jesus is the bridegroom, and he was present to sort of make himself known. And he comes as a king for the daughter of Zion. And when Jesus speaks this verse here in the children of the bride chamber, he speaks to the Pharisees who were then sitting at the publicans and the sinners. So a lot of people were sort of witnessing him saying this. So to whom was he talking? Right? To all these people, basically. So a recap of the Jewish wedding. I'm not going to read everything, but people can sort of pause the video and then read it all again. It's a shorter version that I did last presentation. So the first thing I can read, this ancient ritual prophetically points to the coming of the Messiah and the great celebration of the marriage supper of the Lamb. And it also teaches us unique lessons about God's covenant love for his people. So the three distinct parts, and there's the Shudukin, Erusin, and the Niswin. I don't know how to pronounce that. So I'm going to go over them quickly. So the first part is sort of the preliminary arrangements, and they're usually signing a marriage contract. And what they also do is they separately immerse themselves in a ritual, water ritual, and it's called the mikvah. So there are some sort of spiritual cleansing going on. And after that, the time of betrothal is about, and they enter into a marriage canopy, a huppah, symbolic of a new household being planned. And the groom would usually give the bride some money or some object, such as a ring, a cup of wine, whatever. And then he goes away to prepare a place for his bride. And the bride focuses on her preparations, wedding garments, lamps, whatever. Right? We know that of the 10 virgins parable. And also important is that she doesn't know when her bridegroom will come back for her. She doesn't know the date, basically, of the wedding. And then afterwards, there's the marriage. The final step in the Jewish wedding is called the niswin, right? To take up or to lift up. To lift up, it means. So we all know this by these parables. So the immersion in water is the baptism. And the being in the huppah and being near the groom again is like the baptism of fire, and being giving the gifts and the fruits of the Spirit. And then here the groom leaves. So in the parable of the 10 virgins, we see that what happens to them and why they are, when they are not prepared for the marriage, right? What happens? But the wise took oil in their lamps, in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, and for our lamps are gone out. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So it's very important, this last bit. So Jesus has come. He has sort of betrothed people that he sort of calls out if they want to be married to Christ. Basically, he calls them out, and now it's the time of trimming the lamps almost. Right, we have to get the oil, enough oil that our lamps won't go out in the end times, and that we are being accepted. So basically, it's about keeping a relationship going with God, and that He knows us. At least opens the door for us. So the king of Jerusalem, the king comes for the daughter of Zion. Zechariah 9, verse 9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly, and rides upon an ass, upon a colt of the foal of an ass. And in John 12, verse 14 to 15, it says, And Jesus, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon, as it was written, Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh, sitteth on an ass's colt. And in Matthew 21, verse 5, I had to sort of see that I can get that sort of go away. Need to be just verse 5. Tell you, daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh unto thee, meek, and sitting upon an ass, and a colt, the foal of an ass. And John, do you know what he came to do then, at that time?
Say again?
You're eating your banana.
Yes, I am. You busted me. What do you have? This sixth sense or something?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead. Ask your question. Sorry.
So what is Jesus coming to do when he's sitting on that donkey?
Oh, pronounce his kingship.
Yeah, and not only that, right?
That's the biggest one.
So what is he coming to do?
This is called the triumphal entry. You ever hear that?
Yeah.
That's what you asked me. That's my answer.
All right. Well, of course, that's one thing, one aspect of it, because all of it is his. But he comes for the daughter of Jerusalem and Zion, right? He comes to sign that marriage decree, basically. Right? And he's going to sign in blood eventually.
This is we're gonna have. Okay, folks, this is the caveat that yeah,
He's going to get into a disclaimer for himself.
Yeah, this is the disclaimer. So the thoughts currently being presented aren't necessarily the thoughts of the owner. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So it basically comes to betroth his wife. So, and John, John, saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So he comes for the holy Jerusalem, seeing it as a symbolic bride.
Am I going to have to caveat everything from this point forward?
Maybe from here on now, you might be having to do that a little bit more. But we know that you have other views, and you can express them.
Okay, yeah. But it's your show. I'm sorry. I'll just stop you every time there's a caveat.
Sure. So here we got the New Jerusalem. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Revelation 21, verse 1 to 2. So we got a conclusion. See, Jesus is the bridegroom. And according to the parable, it's important to have oil in your lamps, like the 5 wise virgins had. The virgins are pure, without sin. So the city of Jerusalem is the place where the new covenant has been made. In John 12, verse 14 to 15, just read that. The daughter of Zion and the daughter of Jerusalem are symbolisms of a people group, the virgin in the new garments ready to meet the bridegroom. The people group are not his people but will be. And God will assemble those who have been driven away. And then they will be called by a new name. That's the conclusions of the last presentation that I made. So we got the 10 virgins, the parable, and we got the city of Jerusalem. So is Jesus going to betroth a city? And here it says, I will say to them which are not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God. So who are those people, or who are these people? So let's go over the 144,000. Well, here in this parable in this verse, Revelation 21 verse 17, and he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. We see sort of a reference that the city also uses these same numbers. So you would think, okay, it could be a city then. So a city or a literal number of the 144,000 or a great multitude. So God gives us a description of the New Jerusalem, and in Revelation 21 verse 15 to 17, and he talked with me, and he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 and 4 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. So there we go, sort of like a wall around it. The number 144,000 is mentioned as a measurement of the Holy Jerusalem. So in Revelation 12, verse 13 till 17, and it had a wall great and high, and it had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the name written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And on the east 3 gates, and on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth, and he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of an angel. So we know that the number 12 is important. That's also symbolistic. We know that the number 3 is also important, and I think that it's interesting that it's sort of the same sort of layout as the camp was, the camp of the Israelites, and I presented how that looked like, or what it looked like, in a previous presentation. So that's interesting too. And of course, the mentioning of the number 12,000, right? And then 12 times 12,000 makes 144,000. So the number 144, the measure of a man. I've read some citations or some write-ups by people that say that 1,000, so 144 times 1,000, 1,000 is like more heavenly, and 44 is according to a man, or measure of a man. So the 1,000 is like heavenly, and I will come back to that later in a later presentation on more of the numbers. So the 144,000, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. Revelation 14, verse 1. So here, it's a people group. Revelation 7, verse 3 to 4 and verse 9. Saying, heard not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000, all of the tribes of the children of Israel. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So verse 5 to 9, in the missing verses here, we read the lineup of the names of Israel. So we know that lineup is basically all these tribes. I'm not going to read this all, but the tribe of Judah, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. But these are not all the tribes. But this makes up a story, and I will read only the white here. Now I will praise Yahweh. Surely Yahweh has looked upon my afflictions. How fortunate, happy am I. With great wrestlings have I wrestled and prevailed. For God has made me forget all my toil. Because Yahweh has heard that I was hated, he therefore given me this son. Now this time will my husband be joined to me. God has given me my wages. God has endowed me with a good gift. My husband will dwell with me. Yahweh shall add to me the son of his right hand. I did a presentation on all these names and what they mean, and it's funny how this comes up here. So the 144,000 seem to be connected to the New Jerusalem, but are they a literal 144,000? And in my previous presentation, I came up with the two stories. The names that I just read is also in the birth order, makes up a story as well, and there's a difference between the one and the other. And the difference is that here in the name following of the birth of the sons of Jacob, it has the words God hath judged me. And in Revelation 7, it's basically different because it says there, God has made me forget all my toil. So you could sort of see that the story changed up into something better, basically, with all the names that the patriarchs had. So it could be that therefore two names were maybe omitted because they weren't needed in this lineup. So in Revelation 12, verse 16, and the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it were equal. So what things can we draw from these scriptures? Well, the city is presented as the bride. The measurements of the city has the number 144 in it, and the number in Revelation 12, verse 16, 12,000 furlongs. You could easily think that the bride is the city, the New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem has 12 gates with the names of the sons of Israel. This would suggest that the New Jerusalem is only for the tribes of Israel, all 12 of them. The wall of the city has 12 foundations in them, the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Which 12? Certainly not Judas, right, the traitor. Paul, perhaps? Well, Paul was a Benjaminite of the house of Judah, but also a Christian. Are the Jews the bride? The 144,000 in the Revelation lineup misses the names of Dan and Ephraim. We saw that the names make up the new story. The name Dan and Ephraim weren't necessary for this new storyline. Dan means God has judged me, while Manasseh means God has forget me all my toil. So you would easily think, it is very heavily connected to basically Israel, right? What do you think, John, if you read this?
You better just continue. Yeah, just go ahead and continue. I'd like to caveat this again as
this is not your view. Well, it's just a research, right? It's just. But
it's
you can
just I'm caveating the whole presentation.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you can just conclude out of what we just read that it could be a city, or it could be a literal lineup of Jewish people.
Don't pile on, because you don't want me to have you to go back to the start of this presentation and then unpack everything one step at a time.
Sure. Well, I already did. Go back and
just go ahead and continue, because we'll get into
where
it
are
here.
the places? Yeah, where are the places where the 144,000 or the number 144 and 144,000 is or are mentioned in the Bible? Well, answer: the only in the New Testament, in Revelation 7 and 14 as a group of people, but also in Revelation 21. See the next slide, right? Do a comparison. Who are these 44,000? Answer: 1, a measurement of the Holy Jerusalem, group of people, or just both? See in these verses. So we got Revelation 21, verse 16 to 17, right? I just read that with the 144, the 12,000 furlongs. We also got Revelation 7:9, and after this I beheld, lo, a great multitude that no man could number. So if you put them side by side, and you say, okay, yeah, well, it could be both. But we are not done yet. So a literal 144,000, sorry, numbering God's people. Well, in 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1 to 3, that says, and Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. And David said to Joab and to the rulers of the people, go number Israel from Beersheba to even to Dan. And now bring the number of them to me, that I may know it. And Joab answered, the Lord make his people 100 times so many more as they be. But Lord, my lord the king, are they not all my lord's servants? Why then doth my lord require this thing? Why will he be a cause of trespass to Israel? So God does not want his people counted. So numbering God's people in 2 Samuel 24, verse 1 to 3. And again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel and Judah. For the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with them, go now through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people. And Joab said unto the king, now the Lord thy God add unto the people how many soever they be, 100-fold, and that the eyes of my lord the king may see it. But why doth my lord the king delight in this thing? So it's basically the same sort of scriptures. It must be important if it's mentioned twice. In 2 Samuel 24 we read the same story, but with some differences. Here God is angry and tempts David to number Israel and Judah. And notice here that Judah and Israel are already mentioned separately here. So God allowed Satan to tempt David. The punishment is described different too in these two places where this is mentioned. In 2 Samuel 24, verse 13, it says, so Gad came to David. Gad was in this case is not the tribe Gad, but is a prophet named Gad. So Gad came to David and told him and said unto him, shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land, or wilt thou flee for 3 months before thine enemies, while they pursue thee? Or that there be 3 days pestilence in thy land? Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. So there was a punishment, basically, to number the people. So in 1 Chronicles 21, verse 10 to 12, go and tell David, saying, thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do one unto thee. Do it unto thee. So Gad came to David and said unto him, thus saith the Lord, choose thee either 3 years of famine, 3 months to be destroyed before thy foes, while that the sword of thine enemies overtake thee, or else 3 days the sword of the Lord, even the pestilence in the land, and the angel of the Lord destroying throughout all the coast of Israel. So now therefore advise thyself what word I shall bring to him that has sent me. So it's interesting that in 2 Samuel it says 7 years, and in 1 Chronicles it says here 3 years of famine. That's something that needs to be sort of taken to the Lord and asked what that means. So David chooses the latter. He chose the 3 days, the 3 days of pestilence. So the Lord sent pestilence upon Israel, and there fell of Israel 70,000 men. So that was basically the punishment of numbering Israel. So David sinned against God by counting his people. God punished him and the Israelites for this. Therefore, why would God himself give a literal number of his people? I personally don't think that God would do that. So 2 Samuel 24, verse 13, so Gad came to David and told him and said unto him, shall 7 years of famine come unto thee, unto thy land, or wilt thou flee 3 months before thine enemies while they pursue thee, or will it be 3 days of pestilence? So you see the difference between 3 and 7 years. Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. God will always reveal things through his prophets, or make allusions to connect past with future. So God's secrets in Amos 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Is there something somewhere in the Bible about a people group like the 144,000 in the Old Testament? What do you think, John? Is there?
I'm still in caveat mode.
Yeah, but you can sort of say, I mean, you know the Bible. Is there 144,000 in the Old Testament?
I can't recall.
Okay. So in Revelation 14, verse 1 to 3, right, we have that the same scriptures that I read before, right, where the Lamb stood on the Mount Zion with him of 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. So he's standing on Mount Zion. So keep this in mind, right? And they sung, as it were, a new song. It's not for nothing that it's there. So in 1 Chronicles 25, we find this number. I'll go over verse 1. Moreover, David and the captains of the host separated to the service of the sons of Asaph and of Heman and of Jeduthun, who would prophesy with harps and psalteries and with cymbals, and the number of the workmen according to their service was. And then all of these were the sons of Heman, the king's seer, in the word of God, to lift up the horn, and gave to Heman 14 sons and 3 daughters. All these were under the hands of their father for the song in the house of the Lord, with cymbals, psalteries, and harps for the service of the house of the Lord, of the house of God, according to the king's order of Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman. So the number of them with their brethren that were instructed in the songs of the Lord, even all that there were cunning was 208. So in the English version, right, it says here, the number of them along with their brothers who were trained in singing to the Lord, all who were skillful, was 288. 288. Well, divided by 2 is 144. So, interesting. So 288 seers and singers. And they cast lots against Ward as well, the small as the great, the teacher as the scholar. Now the first lot came forth for Asaph to Joseph, the second to Gedaliah, who with his brethren and sons were 12. The third to Sakur, he and his sons and his brethren were 12. And fourth, Isri with his sons and his brethren were 12. And so it goes on and on and on until they have 20 times 12, 288. So 104,000 in God's kingdom and 288 in David's kingdom. So in Revelation 14, verse 3, they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the 4 beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed of the earth. And in Chronicles, so the number of them which their brethren that were instructed in the songs of the Lord, even all that were cunning, was 248. So they are both like singers to the Lord and seers. Now the children of Israel in Chronicles 1 Chronicles 27. Now the children of Israel, after their number, to wit, the chief fathers and the captains of thousands and hundreds, and their officers that were serving the king in any matter of the courses which came in and went out by month throughout all the months of the year, of every course were 24,000. Over the first course of the first month was Yeshobeam, the son of Zabdiel, and his course were 24,000. And the children of Perez was the chief of all the captains and of the hosts for the first month. And over the course of the second month was Dodai the Ahoite, and of his course was Mikloth, also the ruler. In his course likewise were 24,000. And it goes on until they have the same mentionings as 288,000. It continues with the naming of the captains and chiefs till verse 15, all mentionings of 24,000 men over the 20 years of age. So every month there was a change of command, and there we get the 12 from. So 12 times 24,000 means that we get 288,000.
288,000.
Yeah, sorry, I have something with numbers. So just a thought, are they maybe 2 sets of 144,000? Continuing in 1 Chronicles 27, all the names of the tribes are mentioned except for Gad and Asher. So here we see that, I'm not going to read everything, but you can see that the Reubenites are mentioned, Simeonites, Levites, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Naphtali, Ephraim, Manasseh twice, Benjamin, and Dan. And but David took not the number of them from 20 years old and under, because the Lord had said that he would increase Israel like the stars of the heavens. Okay, so Joab, the son of Zeruiah, if I pronounce that right, began to number, but he finished not, because there fell wrath for it against Israel. Neither was the number put in the account of the Chronicles of King David. So you can see that there is not a real literal number mentioned of all the people that were there and were these chiefs and captains and all the army, basically. So a multitude of people, as we read in Revelation 7:9, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindred and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And I think, yeah, okay, so they would be multiplied like the stars of the heaven, right? It's all in there. Oh, wait a minute, we need to go back a little. So in 1 Chronicles 27, we have that lineup, the same as we had the lineup in Revelation 7. But here, Reubenites, Eliezer, Zikri, Simeonites, Shephatiah, Micaiah, whatever, all these names. I'm not going to read them all because I strangle these names. Make up for a story as well. I try to do my best of this, so I will read this a little. So see, son, God is help. He remembered me. Hearken and listen. Yahweh has judged my oppressor. Join to him, Yah is kind. The love of God, God's rising, God's grain. He shall be praised. He is my God. I am beloved. He will bring a reward to the servant of the Lord, who is like God. In his dwelling I will hear the Lord. I am servant of Yah. With great wrestling I have wrestled and prevailed. I will be lifted up with the help of my God, or with the help of God. I will have double fruit and salvation, and I will be strengthened by or of the Lord. I forgot the Lord is God, but Yah has ransomed me. I forgot a heap of testimony. By his love Yah has remembered me. The son of his right hand makes God the Father a lamp. God has judged me, but God has helped me. He will obtain mercy. So also this makes up for a story, and I think it's pretty neat. And in translation there might be some things like wrong, but I think I could pretty much sort of reproduce it, hopefully. So in Revelation 7, 9, and the verses 14 to 17, compared to Revelation 21, verses 2 to 4 and 6 to 7 and 24. So after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all the nations and kindred and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. In verse 14, and I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of the great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore they are before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. And they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. Neither shall the sun, oh my God, I get strangled with these words again, sorry. And for the Lord, for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of water, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. So this is in Revelation 7, the main characteristics of what is written there. And then in Revelation 21, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, and I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and he will be his God, and he shall be my son. The time and the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. So I sort of emphasized certain portions, like the red with this red and the darker red with the darker red on the other side, and then I made a sort of a comparison in the next slide. Oh, it's not the next slide, it might be the slide after this. So in Revelation 14, verse 1 to 4, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 44,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they were our virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These are redeemed. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruits unto God and to the Lamb. So in Revelation 6:9. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, for their fellow servants also, their brethren, that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. So it could be two groups, that the ones on the altar and the ones that are after a little season would be killed later. So I make a comparison. So Revelation 7 and 21 speaks about the ones that came out of the tribulation or are the overcomers. So who? There are a great multitude of people which no man could number, and the nations of them that which were saved. And who have washed their robes, are prepared as a bride adorned for their husband, and the throne will dwell among them. The tabernacle of God is with them, when neither will thirst anymore, and I, God, will give unto them that is athirst. And I, God, will wipe away all the tears from their eyes. So there's a lot of similarities between Revelation 7 and 21. So I haven't got all the answers to all the questions about the 144,000 and who they exactly are. And if there are two groups of 144,000, I have more thoughts on this, which I hope to express in a later presentation. For me, so far, these are my conclusions. No, I think that the lineup was a little bit different, but go over this. Since God didn't want his people to be numbered by David, like Job said, the Lord make his people 100 times as so many more as they be. Why would God give us a literal number? God describes his city. The foundations are 12 apostles. The gates are the 12 patriarchs of the 12 tribes. The wall is the number of a man, etc. God mentions the 144,000 furlongs, etc. The multitude could be represented as the walls of the New Jerusalem. The defense, the 144,000 are represented as warriors on white horses who will accompany Jesus. So God speaks to us in parables and symbolisms. I think there are my thoughts, I think there are two separate groups of 144,000. In the lineup in 1 Chronicles 27, the names of Asher and Gad are missing. And their meanings are, for Gad, how fortunate, and Asher, happy am I. Could it be that these meanings in the lineup are left out because one can only be happy and fortunate when you are in heaven near to the Messiah, Jesus Christ. The names have meanings and tell the story. That's my opinion. The numbers of the city gives us a clue, as well as the description of the city who are to live there, who's to live there. So if God is not speaking in symbolisms, how come there are 12 gates with the names of the patriarchs in the line up in Revelation 7, and the names of Ephraim and Dan are missing? Why is Manasseh mentioned separately from Joseph? Right? It should be just Joseph. But most importantly, if only a literal 144,000 Israelites will enter heaven, then not one Gentile has the hope of the kingdom of heaven. However, the Lord was plainly alluding to the Gentiles when he stated that, what did he state? Matthew 8, verse 10 to 11. The centurion, and that's a thing that happened with Jesus, the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come unto my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant will be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto
You still there? Oh, hold on,
Yeah?
folks. You're back. Go ahead.
Oh, do I have to do
No,
something?
yeah. I'll tell you what. Try to go to the next slide.
Now? Next?
Yeah,
Or
you can
previous?
always come back. It might have stopped your presentation. Just try to go to the next slide. Okay, go back. You're good. Just go back and start over at Matthew 8, 10 through 11.
Okay. Okay, so Matthew 8, 10 to 11. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant will be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and the west, from east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So it's sort of right. We have said I had made a whole build up that it should have been Israel, right, with the New Jerusalem, the gates, and all the things, all is named after Israelites, basically. And now here, Jesus basically says, well, there shall many come from east and west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And with the children of the kingdom, the people that were there in Judea, right then, they might be cast out in outer darkness. Yikes, right? I wouldn't like to be those people. So this is the end for my presentation for today. So we are left basically with a great multitude of people which no man could number. Right? And I told earlier in this presentation, it was a people that was going to be called by a new name. By a new name, they would have a new language, and they were not his people. Right? Well, the people in Judea, they supposedly were not his people, right? Because still they were sort of considered the chosen people. So in the next presentation, I want to go over the church and see what we can find on this topic. And that's it for today.
Wow, that was snappy.
Yeah. I didn't think that it would go this fast, but I think it's good.
You're like 30 minutes. That's 30 whole minutes.
30 whole minutes.
Yeah,
It says
30 whole
50 minutes.
minutes. That you came up short. What did you want me to go into specifically caveating?
No, why would I want you to do that?
Because I'm ASAPing to disclaim. No, it was good. Okay. All right.
Yeah, well, were there surprises in this for you, or was it all known?
There was many instances that I wanted to raise my hand, but I didn't. It's your presentation. You get to stand on that hill.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I know you
It's
will.
a progressional research, right? It's progressional. It's for now, what I read in the scriptures is basically what I read in the scriptures. You can't surpass what it said there. I mean, the description of the New Jerusalem is what it is. You can't go past it. It tells you about 12 gates with the names of the patriarchs of the sons of Jacob. Why would any Gentile be allowed in there? That's my sort of thought. When I first read the Bible, I thought, well, okay, why would that be? Why are the foundations, even the foundations, right? The gates are Israel, but the foundations are then of the 12 apostles. And then I think, okay, which apostles? I mean, we got one traitor there, Judas. He can't be one of the foundations, could he? That wouldn't be good. So who is the 12th? Is it the one that they chose in Acts, right? Or is it the one? Is it the one God chose? Basically, the Apostle Paul. I would go for the latter, personally. But yeah, I mean, but these disciples, these 12 apostles, basically were also Israelites initially. So everything is basically pointing us to the Old Testament, what is written there. So you have to go back to every single bit of it and try to ascertain where does it emerge that also the people out of the Gentile nations will be the called out ones, will be the ones maybe also saved, right? So that's basically what I'm sort of like pursuing or trying to follow up on.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't come to any hard conclusions there.
No, it's just the conclusions on what we just read.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You put some caveats in there yourself. So yeah.
It's just a puzzle, right? It's sort of like a puzzle that you think, okay, I got this puzzle piece, but it conflicts, or it seemingly conflicts with this one.
Right.
And then they think, okay, well, let's see what we can find, and let's put these pieces together and see what we can see as a bigger picture. And that's what I hope to do, right? So that's why I don't want to make hard conclusions, but just conclusions on what we just read and how we can continue on and see how things maybe sort of shift or morph into something else, or maybe sort of illuminates other parts, right? That we think, oh yeah, well, it's sort of a quest.
All right. Perhaps I can give you a pass.
Phew. Thought the same as that one.
What did you say?
Whoa, nothing.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna go back and listen to that. What? Anyone heard what she said? Go ahead and write it right in chat, because that's what I'm looking at. Right. You know that I can't look at chat the whole time she's presenting because I didn't take chat out. I haven't done that yet. I'm scared to. So, what did she say to that little comment right there?
Sure. I don't think that anybody will remember.
All we got
I
is
think
hi
you
to
need to
all.
review the whole presentation, right?
Say again?
You need to review the whole presentation and get your bias out of it.
I don't have any bias.
Find it.
I don't have any bias.
Be open-minded. Don't use things that you already know. Try to see if you can just follow along a little.
Oh, right? I followed along.
Yeah, and then see what happens.
Yeah, I know what happened, but 25 times. That's okay. That's okay. You're okay.
That you counted, huh?
What now?
Again, sorry?
You gonna rumpus me now?
No.
All right. So what's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
You going out shooting?
No, the next presentation I seen on the bottom, I wanted to give you. It's like a teaser. I seen the church at the bottom.
Yep. I'm working on that one. Hopefully I get it done, because that's an extensive one too.
Yeah,
So,
it would be.
yeah.
Are you expecting it to be done for next Thursday?
I hope that I will, but I think I can say more on the next QE Live show.
Oh, on Tuesday. Okay. All right. So just remember, guys, just tentatively for right now, we'll go with Thursday for the church, but that's only tentative. Stay tuned to QE Live, and then we'll let you guys know.
Oh, by the way, what the people said in the chat is, I read it on my phone now. Some person said, seriously, Truth says, I'm not spilling the beans. And a person, Trucker says, she was happy you agreed.
Yeah, right. I didn't hear what she.
No need to go back.
I didn't hear what she said. I just heard the tone, and I know that tone, and it's backbiting tone.
I was not backbiting.
Yeah. Too funny. Yeah. Okay.
Well, there's a reason for you to go over this presentation once again.
I ventured back a couple times already into the presentations just to make sure I heard what I heard, the first time, because sometimes you hear something and it's not what you think it was. So I did that a couple times. Yep.
Good. Yeah. The reading, I have a bad way of reading. I've never been able to read.
Oh, give us a break. It's just your spelling.
Yeah, well, it's true. I sort of apologize people for not being able to read right.
What? Nobody can pronounce those names. So you don't have to say anything. You just do the best that you can and just roll on. We all know. Because if anyone's ever...
Yeah, but it's not just the names.
It's not just...
It's also the stupid King James sort of pronunciations, and with the cometh and the thinketh and the whatever.
Oh, serious truth. Sorry, Betty. Yeah. Hey, what's up, serious truth? It is Stacy. What's going on, Stacy? I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing you say that, because I see so many socks and different names. People come up with different names. It's hard to follow. All right. So it's a good thing you follow it,
because if someone chooses to change their names, then either you really have to have a good sort of sense of what sort of people wrote in back in the day, and you can't do it.
Oh, I had trouble with names right from jump. So changing it's not going to help me any, because I got problems with the first ones.
Yeah, you change them up yourself as well, right? You have these people calling these people different names that they don't have, and then it makes it more. I remember one time that you had one guy named so differently, and I wanted to look up his channel, and I thought, what's the guy's name? And it just couldn't come up with that you said.
Oh yeah, my little names for him. So you tried to type that.
Yeah.
What that gets you?
Hillbilly something, right? That
one.
And
yeah.
And I thought, Koentik Hans? No. This was really bad.
Yeah, but the previous subject, I'm just terrible with names. Just I've always had a problem with it for ever since that I can remember, and I don't know what it is, but people take that as not remembering their names, as you don't think they're important. That's the furthest thing from the truth. But you can't help that perception of it. I'm just bad with it.
Yeah. Yeah, but you do know their character, sort of like, because and that's maybe more important. Sometimes I know a little bit, but then I think, it must start with an S or a D or like that, and then I think, but I've come to get myself to ask right? If I don't know, it's better to ask immediately and say, hey, I'm sorry, I just forgot your name.
Yeah, I can't do
and they
that.
might have just introduced themselves 5 minutes ago.
No, I can't do that because then that's a double whammy on me because I'm going to forget it again. So I don't even go down that road.
Yeah, well, but suppose that you would sort of meet up. You go to town and you meet up. You see someone and you say, and that person says hi, and they strike up a conversation with you, and then you say just you won't say anything like, "Hey, sorry, but I really forgot your name." If you don't do that, right, that person is going to think that you know their names and all that.
That's right.
And then it comes up, and then later on you're like, yeah, they drop the axe on you.
No, I very rarely get embarrassed. It will only be in specific situations after that because I'll usually say, hey, or hey, you. No, I don't say hey, you. Hey, you. No, just like, hey, sir. Or, yes, ma'am. I'll use those types of, get out of jail free cards. Right? Sooner or later, I get busted. It's happened. It didn't happen that many times in my life where I got busted with it. I'm just putting it out to everyone right now. It's just one of those things that I have major issues with.
Yeah, the thing is that if I don't ask, later on my head will be like spinning to find the truth on their names, and it wouldn't shut up. I wouldn't get to go past it. So I just want to know. And there's a lot of groups. I got a lot of groups where, back in the day especially, sort of places where I met up with a lot of people, with training the dogs, for example, and all these people, all these names and faces, and I'm more of a face forgetter. So I can't even remember faces when I see them once. And I see you twice, I don't remember you by face. It's just basically also
I'm opposite. I'm opposite with that. I'm good with faces, but not with names. So I'm sure everyone's really interested in knowing that.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be a good sort of describer of a crime, right? That you just pass me by. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
How does look like? Yeah, tall, fat, and that would be like a skinny, short guy.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. All right, so let's wrap it up, guys. Any final thoughts, Betty?
No, I like doing this. I don't like myself like stumbling over words, but
Stambling?
And yeah, of course I want to please you by saying the right things according to you, but I can't. I have to follow my own thoughts. So there's going to be more caveats in the future to caveat that.
Now, disclaimers. Disclaimers and caveats. Yeah. Bushels full of them.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think that we have a lot of in common, but we call things differently, and that's maybe something that we need to straighten out.
No.
Yeah, we need to go on the trap and walk along and see what we got.
No, I think there's definitely some philosophical differences here.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, but we'll
I really don't think so. So, but you make that claim, and we'll see afterwards what you make of it.
Yeah,
maybe you have to come back.
Yeah, you did tell me that. Just wait till the conclusion. I don't know if you're going to make any hard conclusions because there's some peccadillos still left out there. So I don't know if you're going to be able to make any hard conclusions.
I'm going to go over all of them.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right, we'll see where it goes. I mean, from what I heard from people, they seem to like your presentations. Please stop at the language stuff. No one cares about that. They love listening to you. In fact, some people told me to shut the heck up.
Yeah.
They said I was interrupted. So you have an hour-and-a-half presentation. The only times I only interrupt like maybe 3 or 4 times. It's only really short. I never monologue or anything. Or when you ask me to, right? And they tell me that to stop interrupting you. I can't win.
Well, the thing is that when I tried to explain, I think it was that a specific point where I started to complain, complain, explain something to elaborate on, because you said something and I wanted to elaborate on what my thoughts on that was, and then someone said, well, shut up, let's let her talk instead of, because yeah, you make strong conclusions usually, and you are known for that, to make your strong conclusions and stick by them, and there's a strength in that, but it can also be a weakness in that.
No, it's not a weakness if I could support that. Now back to what you said. Yeah, but you talk for 90 minutes. My interruptions, as they were characterized, were like 25 seconds.
Yeah, but still was interrupted in a specific moment that was so pivotal for the good explanation that I had for it.
Yeah, sure. So a man like me,
and you needed to shut up, and we talked about it already. You are best shut up.
You're best when you. No, that's not what you said exactly.
I know.
Now,
what did I say exactly? You must know. It stayed with you.
A man like me in chat said, I like her accent. I concur. I think she talks great. I've told her. She thinks I'm just saying that to be nice. That's not the part. You know better than that. Because I'm going to tell you straight up. Yeah. So I don't want to hear about any more language. I definitely, when you come past the name again and you butcher it, we all do it. It's no big deal. Just go past it. We don't need to hear about, oh, I thought I butchered that. Yeah, you did. Yeah, like all of us. Just move on.
Yeah, and I sometimes revert back to Dutch.
I do like the Dutch or the English misspellings. I'm not the greatest speller in the world. I screw them up too, right? But yours are kind of unique. They have a Dutch twist to them that I can't even say. Boy, that's really a stupid misspelling because it's so Dutch.
Yeah, maybe this time I didn't go through the Google Translate thing totally, right? So sometimes there's a sort of the sentences between that are sort of my own writing are more a reminder of myself than it is for really expressing.
Right, but it adds character, it makes you human, right?
Well, and then I would like to see them do this in Dutch.
Oh yeah, that you've turned the tables on me before. That would be a disaster. It would be.
I would like to see some disasters.
Yeah, it'd be really bad, and you have a point. All right.
Yeah, I think you guys are like sort of spoiled, right, with the language that's sort of universally known.
Yes.
In most places.
Yep.
You don't have to exert yourself to try to make yourself. Yeah.
That's correct. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, let's wrap her up, guys. Betty, thanks for the presentation. Appreciate it. You're getting quite the load of presentations here, by the way. And everyone out there, they are in a playlist. I keep on saying this, so it's not random and sporadic. That if you'd like to go back to these presentations and say, oh, my God, I don't want to look all through QE's videos for that, you don't need to. Just go to the playlist, and you'll find Betty's presentations under settings. Presentations, you'll see them. And they're all listed there, so you don't have to worry about all the other videos. You can go right to them. So make sure you guys do that, and that's for any subject. I usually try to be pretty good with that. There's a couple that I've been slacking on, but I will catch up with them. And the playlist is the gold because that gets you focused, right? So always remember that. Like I said, thanks again, Betty. I'm going to wrap it up. Okay.
All right.
That's the wrap up. So hang in there, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday. And like I said, we'll update you on the tentative nature of Thursday's show. Don't think anything else is coming up. Not that I can think of right now. So hang in there, guys. Hope you got a lot out of this, and we'll catch you next time. Huey, out.